Take a look at this. This appears to be a contractor painting over students. These students are seen standing in front of a Palestinian mural that had been painted on the school's spirit wall. And as you can see in this image, the spirit wall is labeled as a space for expression to take place. This is something that really got a lot of traction online, and one organizer of the student-led protest tells us he was disappointed by these actions.
Deeply disheartened and saddened that our administrators are willing to condone painting over a student to silence a message, to silence an identity, to silence expression.
The school hired him to paint over it, and he was just there to do his job. People are always protesting for who they think is right or wrong in these foreign conflicts that none of us really understand, but nobody ever protests the fact that these giant defense companies lobby billions of dollars to get Americans involved in wars that we shouldn't even be involved in. I am team no World War III. I am team use American tax dollars for Americans. It's very hard to get people to care about your cause when they can't afford to eat, and people around the world are just tired of these protests.
I try to keep that grip strong because I gotta choke one of these hate motherfuckers out.
Climate protesters physically bested by a camera. It was a live taping of Sweden's version of Dancing with the Stars, and the protester couple, they come rushing the stage out from the back, toss some shit up, and then the boom operator lays the boom on the male protester. Boom! He just goes flying.
Holy That is amazing. He's holding the banner up in front of his face so we can't see it coming.
Oh my God. Camera, free safety, University of Florida. Go Gators.
Germany are getting fed up with radical climate protests. This woman is going viral after she pulled one activist off the road. Get this, look at that, by her hair.
Ew.
Those protesters are from a group known for sitting in the road to stop traffic, even gluing their hands to the road. Who would do that? They did. German police took some protesters into custody, but they also say they're investigating possible criminal charges against that woman who yanked the protester away.
That's it, brother. That's the way it is, cuz. Security.
What is worth more, art or life? Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice? Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting or the protection of our planet and people? The cost of living crisis is part of the cost of oil crisis. Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
Some people can't afford a can of soup, so watch me waste this can of soup. Luckily, the painting had glass over it. Some of these protesters believe what they're doing does no harm, but it's just not true.
Car crash actually linked to one of my circle of friends. She died because an ambulance couldn't get through because your protesters, Just Stop Oil, were blocking the road and the ambulance couldn't get through in time. She couldn't get the help she needed and she died. Earlier you said that you are a peaceful protester. My friend is dead. How do you answer that?
We have a blue light policy, which means whenever we have roadblocks, as soon as we hear sirens, we see the blue lights, people move out of the way. Even when people are gluing in the road, there's always one lane that is kept clear so that people can move out of the way. And we have never had any complaints from either ambulances, fire brigade or any other emergency services.
The video footage exists and the lady can't complain now because she's dead. Let me ask you another question, Phoebe. Let me ask you, what bills do you currently pay? Who pays for your accommodation at university?
My student loan.
When, have you ever paid any bills in your lifetime?
No.
So you don't know what it's like to be a homeowner and not to be able to afford your energy bills and then see some stupid young people throwing soup over a painting in a gallery that has nothing to do with the fact they can't afford to pay their bills. You don't know what it's like to pay a bill, Phoebe, do you?
No, but I have empathy for those people.
I would rather that you and your friends stopped wreaking havoc in the City of London. I'd rather you stop throwing soup over paintings, stop putting orange paint on the windows of Harrods, stop sitting in roads so that my friend couldn't get the treatment that she needed. And I'd rather you went out, worked a bit. Maybe you could do some litter picking on a beach. Maybe you could do something that was practical and helpful. But I don't think being obtrusive and obstructive and lecturing ordinary people when you have no idea what it's like to try and work and make ends meet in the UK. You talk about millions of people. You talk about people who are in poverty. You have no idea what that's like because you live in the rarefied atmosphere of a university at some wokerati place, and you think what you're doing is changing the planet. I think what you're doing is pissing people off, and I think you could allocate your energies more effectively by going out and picking up litter on a beach.
She said they glue their hands to the ground, but if the ambulance comes, they move out of the way. This is champagne socialism, and I understand the young lady is just doing the things that she believes are right, but I agree, she needs to get a job, because the moment you get a job, and you pay taxes, you realize where all that free stuff you wanted comes from. And usually it changes your mind.
Yo.
Nice BMW.
Thanks, man.
Is that thing fast?
It's pretty fast, yeah.
How much horsepower are you pushing?
Like 500.
That's nothing. That's so slow.
That's pretty quick.
You want to see fast? I'll show you fast.
Ooh, so cool. I drive a big microwave. Shut the fuck up, dude.
This is the definition of player hating.
My boy just used half of his battery. Now, I actually like Teslas, or at least the idea of Teslas, but him saying you're driving a microwave is hilarious. And I say the same thing. You're basically driving an iPhone.
Take a big picture look at what's going on here. Over the next decade, 2 decades, it is expected that there will be $150 billion worth of oil and gas extracted off your coast. It's an extraordinary figure, but think of it in practical terms. That means, according to many experts, more than 2 billion tons of carbon emissions will come from your seabed, from those reserves, and be released into the atmosphere. I don't know if you as a head of state went to the COP in Dubai.
Let me stop you right there. Let me stop you right there. Do you know that Guyana has a forest forever that is the size of England and Scotland combined? A forest that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon? A forest that we have kept alive? A forest that we have kept alive.
Does that give you the right? Does that give you the right to release all of this carbon?
Does that give you the right to lecture us on climate change? I am going to lecture you on climate change because we have kept this forest alive that stores 19.5 gigatons of carbon that you enjoy, that the world enjoy, that you don't pay us for, that you don't value, that you don't see a value in, that the people of Guyana has kept alive. Guess what? We have the lowest deforestation rate in the world.
I agree with them. How can more wealthy countries that use oil to build their infrastructure tell smaller countries that are not allowed to? Are you going to help them build their electrical grid up to the point where they can handle charging all of their Teslas? Almost all impoverished countries in the world use oil as a convenient source of fuel, and taking that away from them would only cripple them into more poverty. Some people think that promoting green energy is just a harmless idea, but for most countries, they don't have the privilege to do that. Saying no oil to them means no transportation of food, no transportation of medicine, and some of those isolated areas, no transportation of water. For most of the world, going green is a privilege.